Look at Ben Green, the green-fronted car with the white stripe, challenging Charlie Liddell in the white and red 32. Liddell's had some very strong results so far. He's third in the point standings. We've had, I think, most of the top runners have had DNFs or problems, so I don't think we're going to be worrying too much about drop scores at the end of the season this year as Ben Green looks at the inside line. Liddell went a little bit wide, made that mistake. Tom Hibbert's going to come up as well. The races in his Blendini Motorsport prepared car, and he's brought that expertise over this weekend at the invitation of Rob Boston, who races against him Mazdas. So although they're rivals, the two of them have got together this weekend, and Tom is racing one of Rob's cars, and we'll talk more about that later on as we look at Declan Jones. We've got the two Century Motorsport teammates together. Ben Green coming through from the back of the field after another disaster yesterday. Green tangled with George Gamble on the opening lap of the race. The pair of those guys dicing it out at the front of the field yesterday. And we'll see whether Declan, he's starting to get on the pace with this car. They've had a few issues with it, but the team are working hard to try and put the car underneath Declan that we know is gaining places like nobody's business. Some wonderful club racing there was from the Mazda Supercup down at Brands Hatch, and that means now that Declan Jones is second, Ben Green is third, Charlie Liddell is still at the Declan Jones, Ben Green is still there in third. Ben is going to be thinking here, have I got the pace to get second position? Donington Park last year was the scene of his first podium, and he's on a potential podium position here, but is he going to make a move on his teammate Declan Jones to maybe go for second position? The answer is yes, and Ben Green goes through past Declan Jones into second place. So Jones down to third, Charlie Liddell immediately behind. We've got George Gamble coming up as well. Tell you what, George Gamble is not far away from a podium here. From the back of the field, Gamble was championship leader. He's second in the championship behind Callum Boynton. That is going to switch round again with this race. Charlie, the fourth of the cars coming along the straight. Replay of Ben Green's move into second position. Textbook stuff down into Redgate, made the dive. Two teammates giving each other very respectful racing. Hard, goes wide as they come down into Redgate. Declan Jones is still there in black, a menacing black shadow in third place. Then behind them, we've got Ben Green. A little bit of a gap back to Callum Boynton in fifth. Boynton's made very good progress here in this one so far. Side by side for third, and Ben Green passes his teammate. Excellent move by Green. Donington podia seem to be becoming a habit for the former Super Green racer, and look how on the edge he was there, a little bit squirrely on the back end. That shows how much momentum he carried down into the old hairpin. Perez goes wide off of the exit at the old hairpin. I think has collected it all up, but maybe losing a little bit of ground as Hibbert goes through. Ben Green goes up into second. Kirby will try and recover. Remember, it's the first time for many of these drivers coming out in these conditions, so it is a learning experience, particularly for the AM-class drivers who haven't experienced this before. Declan Jones, though, is going to be gobbled up by Callum Boynton. Boynton goes fourth, inside line to Declan Jones, and Callum Boynton now heading towards a potential podium as Ben Green needs to try and hunt down the race leader, Tom Hibbert. So Hibbert is in the 19-second brackets, but so too is Callum Boynton. In the white car is fourth. Boynton has the fastest lap of the race, a 1:19.5. The lap times are starting to come down because now the race leader, Tom Hibbert, is getting his skates on. A 1:19.567, but that's bettered by Ben Green in second. So Green has got the gap down to 7/10. Ben Green would love to get a maiden win here in Super Cup, starting back on race 2. Let's have a look and see. This is Ben Green moving past Rhys Summerfield for second. Very neatly done by the Hillback 22 car, and the man who graduated from Ginetta Junior last year. He's down now into fifth place. The race leaders across the line, Hibbert and Green, half a second separating those. Ben Green posts another fastest lap in second position. He's going, this is great. Adam Higgins is going to be massively buoyed by his position and chasing George Gamble as we go back to the race leaders. It's very nearly a three-way, but Ben Green goes for the lead and takes it and passes Tom Hibbert. Ben Green leads the third race and he's worked his way through. No gifting a front row start or anything for Ben Green here. He's worked his way through and passes Tom Hibbert. Are we going to see a first-time winner? We are now at half distance at the end of this lap, and it's Ben Green that leads. The youngster in the 22 car, the 19-year-old from Waltham Abbey, has come through. Last year it was a family-run team, and immaculate double-decker buses, transport, and a great awning on the side. They've always been really welcoming of the race fans, but this year Ben's dad, Howard, decided that the best thing to do was move across to one of the professional teams. So he moves to Century Motorsport, and it just seems to have moved Ben up a little. Here's a look at how Ben Green challenged for the lead. You can see Hibbert here, not overly defensive, but Ben sees a gap. Hibbert's about to turn in. Looks in his mirrors as well. Fair play to both drivers. Excellent move by the 22 car. The 19-year-old from Essex goes through, takes the lead. Colin White's down in second place. There is Ben Green. There are the Century Motorsports pit crew putting out the signals. Ben Green doesn't need to be told that he's in PWAS Championship standings after race 2 this weekend. But here is Ben Green, who is on to his last lap. A driver who has done some karting, but not the top-level karting that many other drivers do. Going back to him, the race leader, not much in terms of karting experience for him, and came into Ginetta Junior Racing, and this is the first time Ben Green has had a second season, a second full season in car racing. He did one season in Ginetta Junior and then came in to Supercup last year, which was his maiden season. Very little car experience. There he is. So the driver of the 22, 19 years of age, from Century Wolfman, run by Century Motorsport, still Declan Jones and Tom Roche. They've given us some fine entertainment over the course of this 16-lap race in Donington Park. Callum Poynton's been superb in this one as well. Works his way through the field from a lowly starting position. That's going to consolidate his championship lead. But this race is going to be about a first Ginetta GT4 Supercup win for Ben Green. He's not super green anymore team-wise, but he's super green on track, taking the win. Green very close proximity as well, but absolutely superb stuff right the way through the field. There is that magic moment for Ben Super Green, who takes it. Declan Jones, who soaked up an enormous amount of pressure, manages to get that last podium slot. But Ben Green, I did call him Super Green. He was the Super Green team last year. This year with Century Motorsport, and that is a little bit of history in the making. It's his first race win. Absolutely superb. He never managed to take a win in the Junior Championship. He's moved up, he's developed and matured as a driver. And after Brands Hatch, his original car was written off, and his dad wrote to me in the week and said that Ben was going to be racing a new car, and I wrote back and said, you watch, he's going to do even better. Very happy that prophecy came true, and that Ben Green takes his first win. Congratulations to him and all the drivers who've given us a splendid round 6 of the Michelin Ginetta GT4 Supercup 27. Ben Green takes the win by 3.3 seconds from Callum Poynton. Great drive from Callum too. Fantastic scrap between Declan Jones and Tom Roche for 3rd and 4th. So down in Parc Ferme, and I'm sure we're going to see some emotion from Ben Green. Perhaps not as much as I thought. He looks pleased, but the celebrations are going to happen later on. There is his dad, Howard. They are, you know, lad and dad last year. We called them in the championship. They did a superb year last year. He was on the podium last year. The move to Century Motorsport has just given him that extra little bit of confidence. And after a dismal Brands Hatch, it's Ben Green who very rightly celebrates there with his teammate Declan Jones. A fine race. Jones was 3rd. Callum Poynton was in 2nd. What a fine race, and some great shots showing us the camaraderie in the Ginetta paddock.